Um, hey, good evening, Roger. Welcome, and thank you for coming to join me here to learn about the see, hear, and feel technique that I have been talking to you about. And as a naturopath, I'm very aware that healthcare practitioners need to focus more on their own care. And so I'm really excited to be able to share the benefits that you can receive from using um, unified mindfulness for self care. The main benefits in general are improved well being, a more expansive quality of life, and reduced stress. So, thumbs up if you give me a thumbs up if you feel like you don't make enough time in your day for well being. How about thumbs up if you feel like your quality of life could use a bit of improvement? Okay. And finally, um, a thumbs up if you feel like stress is a part of your everyday life. All right. So you are definitely in the right place this evening with me, too. I have my thumbs up for all three. In this introductory session, we're going to learn about the see, hear, feel technique, as well as the definition of some key terms that we'll be using throughout our course. In the see, hear, and feel technique, we intentionally focus on recognizing our own body experiences and emotions. Our own body experiences and emotions. And so the see, hear, feel technique can lead you to be optimally happy, even if you're in a condition that may not be so good, that can't be changed. One of the reasons that we lead with the see, hear, feel technique is that it helps us exercise the three core skills that build mindfulness. So they are concentration power, the ability to focus on whatever you choose whenever you want. Second is sensory clarity, the ability to explore your sensory experience in real time. And third, equanimity, the ability to allow sensory experience to come and go without push or pull. This is a key factor to help us to retain psychological stability and even temperedness, not just in meditation, but in our life too. So by infusing see, hear, and feel with concentration, clarity, and equanimity, you can elevate your baseline of these three skills and become more mindful overall. The see, hear, and feel technique is designed to show you how you can center on anything at all to develop these core skills. What I like about it the most. The first pleasant reward I noticed after beginning to develop these three attention skills was in the area of concentration. So before COVID hit, I used to do my writing in my private office at my holistic health center. But during the quarantines, I had to move home and share an office with my husband. It was challenging at first. And as I developed my concentration skills, my ability to stay focused on my writing without easily being distracted by him improved exponentially. And the proof of that is that years later, we're still sharing the same office and we're still living and working together. So this see, hear, and feel technique has really improved my life more than I had imagined possible. I mentioned twice the phrase sensory experience, and I'd like to jump into that a little bit because the new technique we're going to learn today is based all on that. So basically, sensory experiences are sensations that come to your brain through your brain's very special sensory organs, which are your eyes, your ears, your nose, your mouth, and your skin. So basically, sensory experience is what you see, hear, and feel emotionally or physically. So it's important to know that in the see, hear, and feel techniques, what we're going to do is observe only what is with you in the moment and not attempt to change anything. So this is is about you being able to see what's really going on in your environment. Unified mindfulness organizes all sensory experiences into three categories. The categories are see, hear, and feel. Sounds kind of simple, and that part is. In addition, each of these three categories can be further divided into inner versus outer. So, inner things arise from your inner world, like, for example, mental images, mental talk, and emotional body sensations, and also their restful counterparts. Outer things arrive from the external world around you: physical sight, physical sound, and physical body sensation, and their restful counterparts. So let's explore each of these three categories and a little bit closer. So the first category, see, includes what's in your mind and also what you see in the environment outside of your body. We label this, we're going to be labeling things that we see. And so we label that see. So there's see in. When you want to see in, you close your eyes and you may find things that, such as images, objects, you may be daydreaming, you may notice a picture of a relative there. So we can see in. When you want to see out, you open your eyes and you look around and you notice, you might find things that, for example, any images or objects like pens, book, a photo, a TV. If there's a window, you might notice a tree or a car outside your window. And these things we also label see. The second is hear. Hear includes what you hear in your environment and also what you hear in your mind. We're going to label these things hear. So when you want to hear in, you close your eyes and focus on the space in your head that's between your ears. So I'm going to close my eyes. I'm paying attention to this area here. And when I'm quiet, out on the outside, when I'm not talking to you all, I listen to anything that's there. So what might I find there? I might be talking to myself like, oh my God, is she going to be done yet? Or are you sure? I'm not so sure I really want to learn this. Or you may hear a tune that's stuck in your head from TV or some mantra that you say to yourself at different times of the day. You might have to think that you have to have a quiet mind in order to meditate, but that's not really accurate. Because if you hear talk going on in your mind, in your head, you just identify it as hear, spend a few seconds exploring what it is that you're hearing, and then go on to the next thing. When you want to hear out, you focus on any sounds coming from outside of your body. So you may find that you hear the fan overhead, or a ticking clock, or traffic outside your window. So these are all things that we would label here. The last category, feel, is what you feel emotionally or physically. Notice we put those two together under here. So I'm going to explain about that. When you feel, what you feel in are what the emotions. That's how we said it backwards. But we say that your emotions reside in your body, and so you may find things such as anger in your stomach, or in your forehead muscles. You get angry, and then you scrunch up your forehead. You may feel love in your heart or laughter in your chest. So anytime we're feeling emotions, we're going to call that feel. And one thing is that most people have all kinds of challenges with their emotions. And some people hold in their emotions. And so when they're going inward to find emotions inside their body, they may think that they're not able to find that. But if you think about it for a minute, whenever you laugh or cry, you have strong emotions that you notice coming up in your body as tears or laughter. So that's there. And then starting with that, we can use that to help you to detect maybe more subtle emotions that are in your body. So it's great for building emotional intelligence overall. In terms of feel out, you would explore outside your body to where your physical experiences reside. And those are the things that I mentioned before. And it might be, let's say, some itching, your skin against cold leather, warmth arising from a radiator. If you live in a cold place like I do, you're hoping that you're feeling it right now. And in unified mindfulness, we call smell and taste. We consider that to be a physical body sensation as something you feel. So we put smell and taste in the feel category. So we've got see, hear, or feel, in and out. And finally, the last category before I go forward is that each category can be further experienced as active versus restful. So active experiences are all the ones that I mentioned and more. So it's anything that you're noticing happening, any busyness in your mind or your body. So hearing sounds, itching that's driving you crazy. And sometimes when you go inside your body, inside your mind, you might say, oh, it's nice and quiet in there. I feel very restful. That's great. You're going to label that rest and just sit in the quiet and the restfulness of it. Another way we find rest in our body is, for example, maybe there's a smell of a certain flower that you like, and every time you smell it, you become relaxed. Or an essential oil of lavender, for example, and you smell it and you get relaxed. So we can label that sensory experience as rest as well. So two ways to have rest. One is when kind of nothing's going on inside, and the other is something that causes us, maybe some music that you like, some classical music makes you rest. We can call that rest. For me, I'm a person who needs constant variety. And so what I enjoy about this technique is that my attention is free to move and bounce from here to there, unlike in solely breath-focused meditation exercises. For me personally, I find it fun not to have to constrain my attention too much. And I also don't have to restrain my body in one position to do the see, hear, or feel technique. I can stand, sit, move, dance, do it inside, do it outside when I'm walking. So even during long stretches of writing that I do during the day, my coffee breaks can also become a type of meditation break. And I'm going to show you how to do that. So how do you practice the see, hear, and feel technique? And I'm going to, 3 short steps. I'm going to just give you a general overall. We're not going to do it right now, but I'm going to tell you what the steps are. So first is you're going to sit nice and comfortably. So you might want to do that right now. Just sit back and relax comfortably with your spine nice and straight, your head nice and straight, and just relax. And let your attention move freely around until it's attracted to any sensory activity you could notice. Then you're going to focus on that and label it see, hear, or feel. And then explore the qualities of it a bit. Um, so maybe you see a light overhead and look at it, you say see to label it. And then you might explore the light. Is it bright? Is it warm? Is it making you, is it annoying your eyes? So you're going to spend some time just to explore the qualities. And then the last step is to, as you're done kind of exploring it, is to let your mind go and move on to another experience. So whenever we bring our attention to something and focus on it, we're building the skill of concentration and clarity. And whenever we decide to say, okay, I'm done exploring this, I want to move on to something else, this is building the experience and the skill of equanimity. And then we just repeat this. So let's try one together, okay? So we'll take just a couple seconds actually. So let your attention move freely around. Let's try in. So I'm going to ask you to close your eyes. Let's up the difficulty of this. Let your attention move freely around until it's attracted to something. And just give it a label, see, hear, or feel, and just say the label out loud.
Here.
Here, good. And now explore what it is that you're hearing and the different qualities of it. Is it loud? You don't say anything, just kind of explore what you're hearing. And then decide that you're gonna stop listening to that with that same attention and move on to another experience. But we're gonna just stop here because I want to make sure you get the concept of how to do this. Okay, so you can open your eye now, and is it okay if I pick on you, Roger, to tell me what experience you had in there, what you landed your attention on?
Well, I closed my eyes and I searched around and I started to hear the tunes of some Taizé chants. And so I focused on one of those and I listened to it.
Okay.
And I closed it down and moved on because you said to do so.
Okay. And then did you move your attention back to me?
Of course.
Okay. So was that easy or difficult for you?
That was fairly easy.
Okay. So that's basically see, hear, and feel. We're going to search for an experience. We're going to explore it for a couple seconds, just a couple seconds. And then we're going to move on to another one. Okay. So we sort of have notice, focus, move on, and repeat. Okay. So how can you find see, hear, or feel technique? One is, we said, in your body. And so just some suggestions of how to find it in your body. One way is to maybe focus on a local area within your body, like your foot, your nose, your stomach. Another way is to focus between locations in your body. They're not anywhere in particular. Maybe instead of your knee, just somewhere around your knee. And a third is to focus across your whole body. Sometimes, when you do exercise, sometimes you feel like your whole body is tired, not just any one particular part. When you want to find these experiences outside your body, in other words, when you don't find anything in, just open your eyes and you'll find many things out and around you. that will fill your present environment. So you can move from looking inward or looking outward very easily. So you'll always have something to be able to do. So when you become skilled at see, hear, and feel, you'll become more aware of your sensory experiences and you will experience them all more fully. And so I just want to give some of the key points. The reason in see, hear, and feel we have inner focus is that it involves deepening your subjective experience in terms of visual thoughts or internal conversations or emotional body sensations, because the key here is it's about appreciating yourself just as you are, just the way it is. And it also allows you to, when we're focusing out, the goal of focusing out is to anchor yourself in the present moment by focusing on external sights and sounds and body sensations. And so here, what we're trying to do is experience oneness with the outside world. So when you're experiencing oneness with the outside world, that could be you looking at the present moment of seeing just where you are and what's going on in your environment. But it can also, as you get stronger at doing this activity, help you be focused on making authentic connections to people and deepening relationships while they're happening. So you become more attentive and aware of what's happening with you and your environment and with others in your environment. So how can you use this see, hear, feel exercise in your life? Well, there are two different ways that I can suggest. So one is if you have a formal practice, you can insert this exercise into your formal practice and for a period of 10 minutes or more. If you don't have a formal practice, I suggest that you start one and just say, okay, I'm going to set aside 10 minutes a day to do this exercise. That would be a good, for me, I do mine for 30 minutes minimum every day. And another way to do it is what we call mini hits. And a mini hit could be a 5-second to about a 2 or 3 minute stretch where you're doing this technique. So it could be when I'm going down to get my coffee or when I was waiting for the coffee to brew, I took a 2-minute mini hit and I did the see, hear, and feel technique there. So you can find ways to actually put it in the day when you're also doing other things. And to use it effectively for your own purpose, I think for me, the two top things are that when your schedule is busy, but you still want to give yourself some self-care, the mini hits certainly make it easy to do it without having to feel like you don't have any more time to in your schedule to do this. And also, if you want to be more productive and develop your skills throughout the day, you can. So, for example, I've suggested when you're walking around, when you're exercising, when you're eating, when you're doing household chores like the dishes or laundry, whenever you want to make your time do double duty, it's a skill to be able to, that you can build to be able to do this and something else. So what might challenge you in this see, hear, and feel technique, and how might you handle it? So one thing to watch out for in this technique is that when you start to pay attention to everything that's going on in your experience, when you're just starting out, you might discover, oh my goodness, there are lots of things that are going on in my head, for example, and that may get overwhelming or surprising. So if you notice a lot of sensory activity or just two, I mean, it's not overwhelming, but you have two, just pick one of them to focus on, label, and explore. It's perfectly okay to let some experiences go by without labeling it. It's okay. If they're important, they'll come back another time. And keeping a comfortable pace with your labels is really more important than keeping track of every experience you detect. And sometimes unexpected things come up. And if they do, don't worry about it. If it's a little bit uncomfortable, do your best to have equanimity with it and focus on continuing to find something else. The good news is that doing this still, it builds on your skill of equanimity. So there's really no way of doing this wrong there. Okay, so any questions? I'm pretty much near the end. I want to thank you for staying with me as I introduce you to this technique. And now we're going to move on to experience the technique. But before we do, are there any questions so far before we transition to the guided practice session?
No questions.
Okay, so do you think that from the things I said, you can think of one way in which the see, hear, or feel technique can help you in something particular in your own life?
Well, to focus on one thing and shut out the clutter that comes in from all the different sources around.
Yeah, that is an important one. I suffer from that a little bit too, but now I have a way of doing it. Okay, so we're going to take a 5-minute break, and then we're going to actually practice and do the technique. So thank you again very much, and we'll be back in a couple minutes.